Hi, welcome to the award-winning Ed Brown Show. And I tell you, this is the new year, and we have back by popular demand, Dr. Melissa Clark. And one of her favorite expressions when you see her, she will say, "Excuse me, doctor, I got what?" You know, I mean, what do you think of that? If a doctor, say, "You got something," and then, well, this book here that Dr. Clark, it is fantastic. It has Black history in it. It has everything. And with this health plan that's coming to an end and Black History Week, this is fantastic. I'm so happy that I was able to get her back on the show. Welcome, Dr. Clark, to Ed Brown Show.
Thank you.
You've been traveling around, and we talked about your book here. Excuse me, doctor, I got what? That's that's invigorating. You know what I mean? Somebody ask you that. How do you get around that, you know?
Well, the title of the book, Excuse Me, Doctor, I've Got What? Taking Ownership of Your Health and Making Healthcare Reform Work for You. I really wrote it so that everyone could have at their fingertips a reference to be able to help navigate the healthcare system with all the changes that have come forth as a result of the Affordable Care Act. People don't realize what's actually impacting them as patients and how they have to move into a new mode of being not just a passive patient, but being an active healthcare consumer and being armed with all the information that they need to get the best quality healthcare for themselves and at the same time understand how to best take care of their own health. And that's what the book is about, and I have had a phenomenal reception with it. You're right, I have been on the circuit in terms of
I had a hard
media
time every time I call you, you somewhere else in the United States.
Yes. So I've been really blessed. The book came out last year, and just this past January, actually, January 2015, Essence Magazine recognized it as a top book pick for 2015.
Congratulations.
Thank you. That was quite an honor. Only 3 books were chosen and highlighted as ones to help you keep your New Year's resolutions when it comes to keeping healthy in 2015. And Excuse Me, Doctor, I've Got What? Was one of those 3. So I was really honored by that.
Fantastic. No wonder I kept calling you, said get Dr. Clark back here,
Well,
because
thank you.
people are asking about that title is catching.
Yes.
How did you come up with that?
Yes. Well, when people actually get a diagnosis and they say those words, like, what? What is that?
It couldn't be me.
Right. They don't realize that they're about to be on a journey to try to reclaim their health. But that journey can feel like you've been dropped in the middle of a forest with no compass, no GPS, no guide, and you're being asked to find your way out with none of those aids. And this book that I've written, Excuse Me, Doctor, I've Got What, is really meant to be that compass, that GPS, that guide, that map to help you successfully navigate the healthcare system when you need it the most.
Yes. All of us, it is something that everybody needs. It's not something that, you can say, well, I'll do that tomorrow. Your health can't wait till tomorrow.
Right.
You got to do that today. Tell us Black history. Tell us a little bit about the background. You didn't do all this by yourself. You had to have a terrific Black history in your family. Tell us about the people.
I do, and I hope you have some time because
yes.
I come from a family.
Go.
My family, I've been blessed to be a part of a family that has prized education for a long time. So back to my great-great-grandfather, who lived in Wilmington, North Carolina. His name was Henry Taylor. He was able to send all 4 of his children to college. So my great-grandmother was actually college educated at Howard University right here in D.C. And her brother, Robert Roshan Taylor, actually was the first Black graduate of MIT. And I just found out today.
Kidding.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I just found out today.
That's my favorite college.
Institution? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I just found out today that he's being honored with a U.S. postal stamp with his image on it that's coming out tomorrow.
Is that right? Tomorrow, when you say the
February
date,
12th.
February 12th,
yes.
that this stamp is coming out, and this young man is related to you.
Yes, he is my great-grandmother's brother, first black graduate of MIT, the architect, literally the architect of Tuskegee Institute in Tuskegee, Alabama. And so, as I said, education is prized in my family. And then I was also fortunate enough that my grandfather was a physician. And I think, you know, I never knew him, but I took inspiration from him as a physician myself. And he practiced in North Carolina in the 30s, 40s, and 50s in a small town called Franklinton. He was actually a physician for both black people in the town and white people in the town.
If you're sick, you want to see a doctor. You don't worry about that.
Absolutely. And the richness of the black history around that is because he took care of the white people, nobody bothered him. So anytime a black person got in trouble in that town, they came to him, and he had to help smuggle many a black person out of town who was perceived as a troublemaker. Exactly. But they respected him so much that they would not mess with him, so to speak. And so I really have been fortunate to have a rich legacy in my family, and I actually even talk about my grandfather in chapter 5 when I talk about choosing your healthcare team. He was a general practitioner, so he took care of everything and everybody. And he actually had an uncanny, from what I understand, uncanny ability to diagnose multiple diseases. Even so, when he would refer his patients to Duke, they would run all these tests, and 100% of the time came back that his initial diagnosis was correct. But now, the point that I make in the book is we have to have all these different doctors because medical knowledge has grown exponentially. We have all these different specialists. So in chapter 5, I start off every chapter with a story, so I talk about him, but I use that to segue into an explanation of all the different specialists that we have now, including, not limited to, conventional doctors, but I also talk about alternative doctors, complementary care, so acupuncture, Reiki, chiropractic, Ayurvedic medicine, things that people have heard about, but might not understand how that can fit into their healthcare team. The title of that chapter is How to Choose Your Ideal Healthcare Team. So you have to know all the different possibilities out there, and I break those down in a really easy to understand way.
So people understand, you know, just like you were saying, in those days, you didn't have specialists. You had generally had a general practitioner.
Exactly.
And then he referred you to the specialist if you needed it.
Right, and specialists were still very rare. It's just that he would refer people on to Duke because Duke had a lot of the testing, x-rays, pathology, instrumentation that a country doctor didn't have.
Right.
So anytime he wanted to get confirmation of a diagnosis, he would send that patient on to Duke. And as I said, 100% of the time came back that he was spot on with his initial diagnosis.
Great. That's Black history for you.
That is Black history.
I mean, it's right here in Prince George County with Dr. Clark. Okay, well, tell us a little more about all this traveling you do. My God, you know. And where you've been and all the things you've been doing and what you're going to do as far as 2015. You got a program coming up soon.
I do. So, well, in 2014, I got to speak to tons of different people. I spoke in large corporations like the Gates Foundation, Pepco, to help people and their employees be health empowered, which is my slogan. I spoke at numerous churches, civic organizations, fraternities, sororities, and had some great questions, was able to explain a lot about how to navigate the healthcare system, how to be healthy, and I'm going to be continuing that this year, 2015.
What was the slogan again?
Be health empowered.
Be health empowered.
That's right. Use that information to empower yourself when it comes to your health, make the right decisions for yourself and your family. So along those lines, I'm continuing, not losing any steam in 2015.
Good.
My next event is February 21st in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Bond Street Social. It's a restaurant at 901 Bond Street. And the event is a women's health Women's Health Month event, yes, around heart health. And I'm calling it Be Heart Health Empowered. So it's sponsored by an organization called Tea with Kai. It's open to the public. There are going to be prizes, giveaways. It's free, and there's going to be a lot of great information. American Heart Association is co-sponsor.
Is that right?
So yeah, we're going to have a great time. I hope everybody can come out. It starts at noon, and you can always contact me for more information through my website, info@drmelissaclark.com.
You know, you're a jewel. You know, no one told me. I wanted you back.
Thank you. I'm honored to be back.
Because the things that you talked about and your approach is so unique, you know, to get the attention of the individual. See, because generally we have a tendency, all of us, you know, to put as far as ranking them, we put health last, you know.
We do.
And really, you're saying, hey, this is time for you to pay attention, because every last one of those organs, you only have one. And if you don't take care of it, it's going to leave you. You know, they have a commercial say, if you don't take care of me, I'm going to stop ticket.
That's right.
You know?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know, one of our noted newscasters here had a heart attack at age 36.
Wow.
And she's a woman. I mean, most people think of, oh, you know, women are relatively safe when it comes to heart attacks, especially if they're younger. But that's absolutely not true. And we have to raise awareness, especially for women, but men also, about how to stay heart healthy. And in my book, I talk about 5 self-health actions that everybody should focus on. 1, of course, nutrition. 2, getting enough sleep. And if you're not getting enough sleep, talking to your doctor about how you can get more sleep, 7 to 8 hours every night. Drinking enough water, 8 to 10 ounces, 8 to 10 glasses every day.
I start that. I even put the water, start off and I put the water up on the mirror there and said, don't forget, you know.
You're right.
That's part of your waking up and getting involved.
Absolutely.
Is
That's
drinking water.
Excellent idea.
Yeah.
I say one easy way to fix it in, drink 2 glasses when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
And then 2 glasses before every meal.
Right.
You eat 3 meals a day.
Well, I got the 2 glasses in the morning, but I haven't gotten the part where it's 2 glasses, you know, every meal, you know.
Right.
Because
Absolutely.
what's so fantastic about that, and I observed in restaurants, you know, a lot of parents are getting that message over to the youngsters.
Yes.
Because I had a group, I say must have been about 5 youngsters in the group, and about 8 adults. And when they got ready to order the drinks, you know, usually soda pop. Hey, what else? You know,
Yes.
but all the youngsters ordered water.
Beautiful.
But one decided, say, I want lemon and sugar in my water.
Oh, that's he got the sugar in there, but
Right.
that's still better than soda pop.
Right.
Yes.
Well, the adults said, well, hey, that's good percentage you got there. You just got. I said, and they didn't know that I was observing them. You know what I mean?
Yes,
But I
yes.
told the parents I can see that you all are doing some homework as far as the
Absolutely.
need for water. And that's what you need to do out there. Hey, that water is very, very important. You know?
Yes, it is extremely
It's just like a
important.
medicine.
Yes.
You know? Right.
Actually, food is medicine. Everything we put in our body is medicine. I talk about strategic eating, and that means eating nutrient-dense food. So, for example, it just came out in the news media the other day, avocados are a great way to decrease your bad cholesterol by eating avocados, because it's a healthy fat. And if you eat, you know, healthy fats like coconut oil, olive oil, avocados. That's a great way to decrease your cholesterol. So keeping in mind that food is medicine, focusing on nutrition, sleep, water, and then the fourth is exercise.
Exercise.
And actually
right.
I say movement, just move.
Yeah.
Because when you move, it contracts your muscles, and that releases a chemical into your body that helps your body stay balanced. And then the final one, which I think is the most important, is actually managing stress in your life.
Oh, wow.
Which is easier said than done.
Yes, very.
But if you're successful at it.
It's just, stress don't just depend on you. It's other people keep
That's
you
true.
stressful.
That's true. But you know, when I give my talks, I have a picture of a roller coaster ride. And the people in the front car are, you know, they have their hands up, whee,
and yelling.
having a great time. And then the people in the next car back are biting their fingernails. They're terrified. And then the person in the last car is on his cell phone, don't really care what's going on, talking to his girlfriend. Yeah, babe, I'll see you in a little bit. And the point is they all have the same stressor, the roller coaster ride, but they're all responding to it differently. And managing stress in your life is about changing the way that you respond to situations and people that come your way. You don't have to internalize it. You don't have to stress out. You don't have to internalize it. There are ways that you can deal with it in a healthy way.
Well, really, release that tension. You know, releasing tension can be positive and negative.
Yes, it can.
And most of us always go to the negative part.
Right, but there are positive ways to release it, absolutely.
Right. Right, but most individuals, as far as stress, if they're stressed out, they go to the negative part of releasing stress, like the grandmothers or grandpops used to give you the backhand when you didn't do the right thing.
That's right.
That's right. I know I remember the backhand when nothing happened.
I got that. I got that. But no, there are very positive ways to release stress.
Okay, tell us something.
Studies have shown prayer and meditation. People who pray and meditate daily have decreased stress levels. People who exercise, especially the ones that have been studied are yoga and Tai Chi, seem to specifically decrease stress levels as measured by blood tests, looking for cortisol and those hormones in our system that run wild when we're stressed and cause all the health problems. So they actually decrease the level of those hormones in our body. And then finally, volunteering.
Volunteering.
People
That's
that
my word.
That's right. People that
volunteer.
volunteer and make themselves of service are found to have lower stress levels. And I guess it's because, as the Bible says, to give is better than to receive.
Yeah, right.
So those ways are excellent ways of decreasing stress in our lives. And the key is to do whatever you do it on a daily basis, because we're always having stuff come at us on a daily basis. And there's the potential for the damaging effects of stress to affect our system on a daily basis. So you got to counteract it on a daily basis.
Right. And I like to get this in, volunteering. This is part of this program. I've been saying that all of you people have all that tension at home and everything, that's retired, have all that knowledge. You need to volunteer for things. Get out and do something. Forget that grass and all of that stuff at home. And once in a while, volunteer, because whatever you do helps someone all the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I didn't know you were going. That was one of your points, but that hit right on the Ed Brown Show. Volunteers. I have volunteers here on the show.
I know. So, wonderful volunteers.
Right. Yeah. So that's the idea. And just what about diets? So, you know, there's so many diets out there that people really don't know. You know. How do you select a diet? You know, I mean, there's people out there selling things, you know, and well, you lose weight, or then a diet can be associated with different things. I always thought, if you want to lose weight, if you want to stress, if what else? How do you select a diet?
Yeah, so I don't really talk about dieting. I talk about strategic eating. One of the things I talk about.
That's different.
Strategic eating means choosing those foods that for you and for your health will give you the most nutrients for the buck. okay, so to speak. So for example, if you have diabetes, you want to make sure to, and this is actually true for everybody, to not eat a lot of simple sugar foods, because
Well, like
cakes, added,
pies.
we talked about soda, adding soda, white products like white rice, white bread, because all those products break down into sugar. And when you're diabetic, when you have diabetes, you're actually having problems processing sugar. So you want to stay away from it.
Well, generally, processed food, most processed food have that problem.
Exactly. So I say focus on what I call single ingredient foods. So greens, that's just one ingredient. It's not processed. Eggs, one ingredient, not processed. Baked sweet potatoes, one ingredient, not processed. And when you try to
What about
build,
if I put the sweet potato into a pie? Does that count?
no, it doesn't. Because then you're talking about combining a lot of different ingredients, including sugar.
Okay, I was trying. That's all.
You're reaching for it, but that was a good try.
Right.
But no, really focusing on those single ingredient foods will kind of keep you out of trouble and keep you kind of on the straight and narrow without a whole lot of formulas and things to memorize.
Yes, well, generally that's the problem, and people get involved in doing things a certain way to do. When it's a simple thing, it comes back to selecting the right food.
Right.
Once you select the right food, then it does its job.
Right. So even beans, another great single ingredient food, great source of fiber, great source of protein. So focusing on those single ingredient foods that have a lot of nutrients, we talked about avocados earlier, are really the ways to get that health benefit of food.
Well, how do they find
form.
out what's a substitute? You know, maybe some people don't like avocados, or they don't like other foods. They have to become knowledgeable of substitutes for the things that some of the vegetables or things that they don't like.
I think if you focus first on a plant-based diet, and that really gives you, no, I didn't say no meat, but focus, build the foundation of what you eat around plant life. So that means your fruits and your vegetables. And within your fruits and your vegetables, you have a huge leeway. I mean, you can choose a lot of different options. And then add on lean meat, but not make that the focus of your eating.
Right now, what we do, we focus
start with
dinner
the meat.
with the meat. Say, what are you going to have? First thing you want to know, hot dogs, hamburger, and then you decide, say, well, I guess I get some peas, carrots over here. And usually, if you notice, the portions. The portions,
so really,
the meat portion is generally larger than the vegetable portion.
We should be focusing on 3 ounces of lean meat, and that's about the size of your fist. And that's really a good guide for how much of a meat protein portion you should be focusing on. And then if you don't think that's enough, fill everything else, backfill all that with plant-based options.
With fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables, absolutely. Can't go wrong.
No, okay. So
that are not canned or processed.
Fresh
fruits.
Fresh
fruits and vegetables.
Now
because when they're fresh, there's no added sugar, there's no added salt.
It's processed.
You're not getting the residue of the cans.
All canned foods are processed.
Right.
See, I'm a food scientist. All canned. A lot of people don't understand.
Absolutely.
They're processed for longevity. And they don't understand that. They look at a package and they say used by. The purpose of that is telling you that after a certain time, hey,
it's over.
All the nutrition in
a
particular product is gone.
And also, too, the lining of cans has been found to have chemicals that are associated with higher rates of cancer. So if you're going to be buying, if you have a choice between canned foods and frozen foods, go with the frozen foods, because at least then you're not getting the residue of the can.
Good point, because the can actually, there's a problem. It is a period of time in which the processing that attacks the minerals in the can to the point that, and you can look at some of them in the cans rot, or they had, and the idea is that they have the shelf life.
Right.
See.
Right. But I think the key is, whenever possible, choose fresh fruits and vegetables, and if you have to have a second choice, go with frozen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell us a little bit more about the family there, Black history. It was something else we talked about off camera that I didn't hear it.
Well, I think we talked about my grandfather.
Your grandpops.
Oh, yes. So my great aunt was actually married to the first black doctor in North Carolina. His name was Dr. James Schober. And his wife, my great aunt, was Miss Lillian Schober, Mrs. Lillian Schober. And actually, my father also was in the healthcare profession. He was a pharmacist, and he was actually my direct inspiration.
No kidding.
Yes,
Great.
when we were little, I lived in Jamaica for a short period of time. He was Jamaican, and I remember going out to the very rural areas with him, and with a team, actually, a doctor, a nurse, and him as the pharmacist, and they took care of people who were waiting, it seemed like, for days to see them, wrapped around the block, down the road. And it just impressed upon me as a little child, probably 5, 6 years old, how important health was and what a precious resource it was, that people would wait that long to be seen. And that was one of my earliest inspirations for wanting to go into medicine.
Good. And the environment has a lot to do with the individual learning things. You come from an environment where it was emphasized. So education is very, very important, for your health.
Absolutely.
And give us some pointers quickly about health, general health, that you recommend.
Right. So I think we kind of covered the 5 self-health actions. And really, I would say the next thing is, when you have to deal with your doctor, what are 5 things that you should never leave your doctor's office without getting answered? So the first is, what's wrong with me?
Yes, right.
The second is, what is the treatment? What are its effects and side effects and cost? The other is, what are the options that I have?
Right.
Because everybody has a choice. You might not like the first treatment that he or she, the doctor, comes up with.
Well, that's it. Questioning the doctor. People have a tendency not to want to question the doctor because they feel that they don't have the knowledge that the doctor has. But I think that's a good point, is always question the doctor.
Always question the doctor.
No matter what, just like you say, excuse me, doctor, I got what?
Exactly.
If a doctor tells you you have something, then actually do some research on it yourself, and then you'll be able to be knowledgeable about the cure.
But don't leave that office unless you have a working understanding of what that doctor is talking about, even if you have to keep asking them questions.
The same thing, right?
Absolutely. That's why I said the first question is, what's my diagnosis? What does it mean? Explain it to me in simple lay terms.
Right.
Because you're the one who's going to have to make choices based upon what that diagnosis is. You got to understand it.
Well, I want to thank you, and you coming back, and you're going to have a program. Tell us about the program quickly.
Yes, again, it's in honor of Heart Health Month, focused on women's health. It's going to be in Baltimore on Saturday, February 21st from 12 to 3 at the Bond Street Social Restaurant. That's at 901 Bond Street. You can get more information on my website, which is drmelissaclark.com, drmelissaclark with the E.com.
Okay. You've heard it here on the Ed Brown Show, and you know the slogan is volunteering. That's part of the health problem too, is activity. And once again, I like to thank Dr. Clark many, many times about coming on the show and giving you these pointers, because they are very, very important. Don't forget, volunteer.